Hello, my name is Mark Armstrong. I am one of the chief examiners at the ABRSM. So today we're going to talk about having fun with scales. Now, one of the problems with scales is people think, oh God, I've got to learn some scales. Unless of course you're doing a performance grade. But probably if you're doing a performance grade, to do your best in your pieces, you'll have learned some scales in advance anyway. But anyway, however you're doing it, wherever you're learning scales, I want to try and talk about making them feel like a fun and creative thing too, which you can use to explore different sounds, explore a little bit about music theory, understand how everything comes together when we think about music. So here's a really nice, easy way to get into this idea, which is to think about not a whole scale, but just to think about the notes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, starting on a C. Now, you can do this starting on a bunch of different notes as well, and we might do that a bit later, but for now, just to show you how easy this can be, we're just going to use these white notes, which sit really well under the fingers. And then we can also do that a bit further down the piano, just by playing this, just playing what's called a perfect fifth. Kind of sounds a bit Roman, doesn't it? Now, what we can do is experiment with the sound of just the normal white notes while we hold that fifth down. It sounds pretty cool. And make up little tunes, just using any order of 1 to 5 that you like. Okay, now what we can also do then is think about maybe pairs of notes within those 5 notes and see what they sound like over the top of the same bottom 2 notes. It's already starting to sound a little bit like Taylor Swift. Now, another thing that we can do, having explored that, is think, well, what about if I use some black notes instead of all those white notes? What kind of sounds can I make? And we can get some really interesting sounds if we start to do this. So for example, let's see what happens if I replace the F, note 4, with an F sharp. It's a totally different sound. It still sounds major, because I've got that major 1, 3 and 5, we call that a major triad. But inside it, I've got that little touch of magic that you get when you have that sharpened fourth. There's a lot of film music that uses that sound. Here's another one that I might try. I might try replacing the second note with a flat. So when I flatten the second note, then I get this sound. Again, that's really film music-y, isn't it? Now listen to what happens when I play those 3 notes together. Like that. It's got a real dark character to it, which is really, really interesting. And then I might replace the third note. And obviously I've made the music sound minor instead of major. So just by playing around with those 5 notes, you can find all these different sounds, and you can also think a little bit about what have I done, what have I changed? I've raised one of the degrees, one of the notes here. So if I raise the 4th degree, I get that slightly different sound. If I flatten the 3rd degree, I get a minor sound. If I flatten the 2nd and 3rd degrees, I get a much darker kind of sound. And it's really brilliant to think about associating those sounds with mood and emotion, because that's what music's all about at the end of the day.